Back in Boxing Manager, we made a few shows. Andy Fitch against Shalva Tkhilishvili from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Tony Seals versus Jamel Adant as the co-main. We'll take a look at, the main event there. Fitch versus Tkhilishvili. I believe it is Tkhilishvili. Good chin, good on the canvas. He takes punishment a little better. Flick the switch, barely takes punishment at all anymore. But he's got the advantage in pretty much everything that actually matters other than that. Ring IQ, all the punching stuff, defense, and aggression. Seals versus Adant, we already looked at. Then we've got Eric Cartagena versus Luis Emilio Dominguez in the welterweight division. Cartagena looking to improve his undefeated record. Jose Edwards versus Jose Hainsworth. Raymond Pena versus Oscar Dominguez. This is definitely a super card. Robert Filipone versus Ribeiro Campos. In the heavyweight division, Rigoberto Grant looking to get back to winning ways at the cruiserweight level, and Matthew Ganaway looking to advance to 5-0. Corey Barboza versus Santiago Rodriguez from the Kia Forum in Inglewood. Here's the card. Barboza versus Rodriguez. Hartman versus Edwards. Rice versus Encinas. Adorno versus Summon. Maizon versus Wade. Green versus Rocha. Zapata versus Pierce. And Ziegler versus Cruz. And then Manuel Soto is going to defend his... Well, this is actually... Sorry. My apologies. I don't know why the Ring Magazine isn't involved, but this is an undisputed Cruiserweight World title fight. No Ring Magazine, but WBC, WBO, IBF, and WBO World Cruiserweight titles between Manuel Soto and Ludwig Haufft. Soto has 2 of the belts. Haufft has 2 of the belts, so it's the ultimate unification. And I would definitely say Haufft is the favorite in this one. It's going to be, hopefully it's going to be a great fight, because if it's a great fight, that's a lot more likely to mean that Soto did a good job. It could be a one-sided beatdown by Haufft. That's always capable with the skill set of Haufft, but they're both excellent fighters. I like the more measured aggression from Haufft. If you want to know my opinion, I like the more measured aggression from Haufft. I think that serves him well, but Soto's got a stamina advantage. I don't like to pick against my own guy. Even Rodriguez versus Cody. Thomas Okonja Cody. I don't know if there's Badu Cody as well as Thomas Okonja Cody in the heavyweight division. Tony Ali. Still can't believe he drew a fight. This is a North American cruiserweight title fight, and it's a nice step up here in Tony Ali for Jose Fondora. A good test against a good puncher and a good defensive fighter as well. Vashon Barrett, undefeated fighter, going against Brian Oliveira. Saddam Williams, also undefeated 7-0 against Isio Gonzalo Pereira. Mark Martinez, Leroy Barry, Roy Williams, and Max Nieves are all going to be fighting on the undercard as well. So let's get to the actual boxing action. And we start off the day with an undisputed world welterweight title, another one that the Ring Magazine just decided not to show up to. Oleg Zakopov, world famous, versus Luke Cassidy of Bathurst, Australia. Not a great defensive fighter, definitely a forward mover. Brawler, if ever I've seen one. Let's see if the more measured approach of Zakopov wins out, or if Cassidy can land the KO. Round 1 of this undisputed welterweight title fight. And it goes to Cassidy. Starts off well. He needed to do that if he wants to win, but he gets a big cut in round 2, and a round that Zakopov absolutely wins. Ooh, and Zakopov with the big counter punch knockout. Cassidy with a good start to the round, but Zakopov landed the big shot. You saw a hint of that in round 2 with the big shot that opened up the cut, but in round 3, Zakopov finishes the work, and he is the undisputed welterweight champion. And after all these years, Christian Yuseinov, who has held just the IBF belt for pretty much ever in the super middleweight division, is finally unifying here against 19-1 Serbian champion Milos Jankovic, who knocked off Pavel Aldaganov and Heinz Klein. Actually had a duology there with Heinz Klein. I think he controversially lost the first fight. I seem to remember him actually winning that first fight and getting robbed in the decision. So let's see if Jankovic can avenge that. This is a banger, man. This is a super fight. Eastern European super fight here. Bulgaria versus Serbia. Big first round by Yuseinov. And that's a... Man, Jankovic is a dog. Jankovic has that dog, and he got hurt in round 1, came back big in round 2, but it's round 3 for Yuseinov. These guys are going at it, man. Jankovic wins round 5. I'd say it's 3-2 Yuseinov right now, but it's close. That was a close as hell round. Jankovic is more tired. Big round for Jankovic. Starts to damage Yuseinov. Through round 7, this fight is as close as it gets, and a huge round for Jankovic. I'm going to watch this on fast as we come down the wire. Round 9. Jankovic looks like he's winning the fight on the punch stats. And he's damaging Yuseinov here. Good work from Jankovic. How much can he damage Yuseinov before this fight ends? A counter punch from Yuseinov. Jankovic landing big shots. And Jankovic wins another round there in round 10. Coming up now, can Yuseinov dig deep? here in the late rounds and finally claim that undisputed gold, or will these bright lights shine too bright for Christian Yuseinov? All those people asking him to unify the belts, all those people asking him to try for undisputed, and finally in a shot against a fighter with only 20 professional fights, will Yuseinov come up short? And now Yuseinov entering round 12. And they called that a draw. Yuseinov with a fantastic last round. And the fight ends in a draw. I was just hypnotized there for those last couple rounds watching Yuseinov work. He got Jankovic down to the end of his rope. And I mean, look at that. It's just a dead even fight on the cards. I mean, you can't argue with it. Yuseinov dominates the early part of the fight. Jankovic takes control in the middle. And then Yuseinov dominates the end of the fight. And I mean, I think 6-6 looks fair to me. It looks like it's 6-6 to me here on the scorecards. They're going to have to run that one back, man. Interesting to see what... So the belts all just stay the same. Gotcha. So Yuseinov is still not unified these belts. He finally fought for them, though. One would certainly hope he gets another shot at it. And that they don't give Jankovic some other fight. That would be kind of a buzzkill. Margenis versus Caraway, unified heavyweight title of the world. Miguel Caraway from Chicago. He's definitely a fighter we've tried to sign before. Low stamina, low takes punishment, pretty much perfect at everything else. Margenis, for sure, a power puncher. Never been big on defending himself, but you know what? He's an entertainer. And he beat Danny Snow twice. So let us see. Round one. No power punches in the round. Pretty boring start to this fight. There's a big round by Caraway. Another big round by Caraway. Looks like Margenis is having trouble. I mean, Margenis is going to have to deal big damage to Caraway here. Caraway's got low takes punishment. That's pretty much Margenis' way in here. Margenis thought of as a pressure fighter, but he's not doing anything so far. And then he suddenly gets the flash knockout in round 6. You gotta love heavyweight boxing. And still, WBC, WBA heavyweight title holder Arturs Margenis. The old George Foreman method. Just lure him to sleep and then hit him with the big shot. There you go. That was a very entertaining heavyweight fight right there. A very entertaining conclusion to that fight. Big counterpunch KO and a big light heavyweight title fight coming up here. Another massive fight involving Emerson Gomez. Every Emerson Gomez fight is a super fight. I think he's bitten off more than he can chew here against Sergey Zangief. This guy is terrifying. And Cordoba versus Lesher for the featherweight titles. Lesher with a dominant first round. Great second round. Even better third round. Cordoba really kind of dominating this fight so far, despite Lesher leading on the punch stats, and now he's got Lesher tired. Gets a knockdown there in round 9. All this work coming good for Cordoba, but he might get robbed in the decision here. You got to be worried. Lesher did a good job in the beginning of the fight. Cordoba wins the last round as well, and he just edges the first decision, and he just edges a unanimous decision. And the WBC, WBA, WBO featherweight title holder, now Juan Cordoba of Mexico. Very impressive performance, comeback performance after a rough start to the fight. But he was with him there in the first 2 rounds, power punching, landing back, and then he settled into the fight and won. Dude, Andy Fitch up there in the Undisputed section will always look fantastic. And now for this massive Undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world between Emerson Gomez and Sergey Zangief. I think this will probably be the fight where Sergey Zangief finally is crowned a champion of the world. He's had one shot, a long-deserved shot against Emerson Gomez, where he was knocked out in the 5th round. Will his curse continue here against Emerson Gomez, who has bested him previous? Round one. It's a good first round from Zangief, who I think is pulling no punches tonight. Yeah. Dominant through 3. Good round 4 by Gomez. Some damage from Gomez in round 5. He's got Zangief more tired, but Gomez way more damaged. Good start to the round by Gomez. Zangief, not even half the energy. Sorry, Gomez, not even half the energy of Zangief right now. And that's really the only thing that I think favors Gomez. Another big round for Gomez. Zangief is now the far more damaged fighter for the first time in the fight. I can hardly believe what I'm seeing, frankly, actually. He's got to defend himself. He's got to get this last 10% of energy away from Gomez, who has done an amazing job coming back in what has turned into an absolute classic. But now, after a big round from Zangief, Gomez is the more tired fighter. No energy left, but Zangief still at 64% energy. What can Gomez muster up here in round 10 to rescue himself? Just some decent fight back, and Zangief is now going to be able to pile on pressure, and he does so in round 11. Still the only fighter with energy going into round 12. And he wins round 12 as well, and that should be a unanimous decision win for Sergey Zangief. And indeed, Sergey Zangief is now the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. And Emerson Gomez is going to have to go back to the drawing board, but that chin has been very well cracked, and that may be the last we see of Emerson Gomez at championship level. And despite, it's hard to believe he's only got a 28-fight record, 29 fights now with all of the epic battles he's been in. And now it's time for our show. Corey Barboza versus Santiago Rodriguez. Albert Ziegler. How will he fare against Edgar Cruz? Knockdown for Ziegler there in round 4. And round 5, he gets the stoppage over Edgar Cruz. Albert Ziegler now 3-0. Eric Zapata looking to improve to 4-0 against Chris Pierce, who is a good accuracy puncher. So he could steal rounds from us like that one right there. Luckily, we have 10 rounds for cover. And there's a big knockdown in round 4 to drain all the energy from Pierce. And now Zapata can just hunt the finish and try to get the stoppage. There's a knockdown in round 7, and he gets the finish. Eric Zapata up to 4-0. The pride of Puerto Rico. And Phil Green of Smoke That Ute. Knockdown in round 2. Always a good Smoke That Ute knockdown. Everybody loves a Smoke That Ute knockdown. Phil Green going to the body, knocking that energy off Jose Rocha. Now starting to batter him. So little cover for Rocha. And there we go. Phil Green. His 15th win. Robbie Maizon, speaking of 15th win, 14-0. Looking to stay undefeated. A nice first round. Meets a lot of resistance from Wade. Wade doesn't throw a punch in round 2. So I'm going to tell Maizon to pile on the pressure, of course. Now we go to the body. Big go to the body round there from Maizon. Wade again. 0 punches in the round. Antonio Wade, not the most willing sparring partner, but he actually does manage to damage us some. Those rounds off, I guess, benefiting Antonio Wade. Back to the body, and Robbie Maizon has looked amazing to the body in this fight. His 2 go to the body rounds have been wonderful, and then he gets the stoppage there in round 8. And yeah, there's the 2 go to the body round. I think it was this one and this one and that one were the 2 go to the body rounds. The 24 and the 25. Alberto Ortiz Adorno versus Anirudh Saman. A good challenge for Adorno. Nice accuracy puncher in Saman with a good record. But Adorno swarmed him there at the end. He was at like 15 punches with a minute left. And then at 16 seconds left in that 1 minute, he was at 28 punches. Threw a huge swath of punches at the opposition and got the KO. And now Max Rice versus Christian Encinas. It's nothing but another challenge for Max Rice. Another banger here in the super flyweight division. Whether he's a gatekeeper, whether he's a contender, we don't care. Everybody loves Max Rice. Oh, twice as nice Max Rice. It's a tough round 9 there for Rice. We do have the energy. We've been battered and bruised here, but we come through for the win in round 9. And Max Rice, 33-8-3. Enrico Hartman versus Maynard Edwards. Rico Hartman gets a pretty easy win there over Maynard Edwards. Impressive stuff there from Rico Hartman yet again. Remember when he was just a young prospect? Now he's his 23rd professional win. They grow up so fast. And Corey Barboza versus Santiago Rodriguez. Corey going for his 20th professional win, the big power puncher out of LA. Rodriguez, good first round. Good second round for Barboza. Third round to Rodriguez. Close fourth round. Rodriguez with a broken nose. Got to give that round to Rodriguez in round 5. Barboza, big round 6. This is a close fight. We're going to go to the body here in round 7. We struggle in that round, but Rodriguez does use a lot of his energy. We struggled to start that round, but Barboza with a nice comeback at the end of round 9. We're going to pile on pressure here in round 9. Sorry, in round 10. No, that was round 9. Brrr. Rev my brain back up. Round 10. Barboza. Narrow last round. I think that's a very fair draw if they give it a draw. It is a draw. I've never seen a 95-95 scorecard before. I don't really understand that one. Did he score around 10-10? Like, did he score around 8-10-10 or something? It's a fair draw. It sucks for Barboza to get a draw, but I believe that fight was a draw. We maybe could have been more aggressive there in the middle rounds and stolen one of them, but kind of a boring fight, to be honest with you. A close fight and a fight that I don't really think there was a winner of. Sucks for the main event to be a draw. We sell out the Kia Forum in Inglewood. 17,000 people show up for a fight that wasn't even a title fight. All right, boys. Sold out Yankee Stadium. Undisputed championship of the world. Andy Fitch versus Shalva Tkhilishvili. Tkhilishvili. There we go. We got it. Matthew Ganaway going for 5-0. Ooh, big first round from Ganaway. And he finishes the job in the second round. 5-0 for Matthew Ganaway. Rigoberto Grant looking to rebound. Big first round from Rigoberto. I'm asking some real questions about Rigoberto Grant now. I mean, we know he doesn't have a great chin, so we can't be surprised. I guess we just got unlucky. We knocked him down, he gets up at the count of 8, and then he floors us and knocks us out. I guess it just is what it is. That's some heavyweight stuff for the cruiserweight division, though. I mean, that's a weak chin from Rigoberto Grant. If his chin's going to be that weak, like, I don't know, what kind of weight change? Down, up? What do you even do? Or did we just cut him? Because he was a really promising prospect at first at cruiserweight, and now he's just disappointing, to be honest with you. He keeps losing these fights, and he's going to keep losing. He doesn't have the chin. Philippone's struggling right now in a fight that he probably shouldn't be struggling in. We'll jab and move in this round because we're the superior puncher. There we go, nice. We've got him a little more tired, but we're still damaged here in this heavyweight exchange, and it's another big round from Ribeiro there. And Philippone, unfortunately, seeming to be in some trouble, but he gets a knockdown there, and now in round 10, hopefully he can cruise to a unanimous decision here with a big round. Be hard to score that fight against Robert Philippone, and he does, in fact, win a unanimous decision over Daigisio Ribeiro. Raymond Pena versus Oscar Dominguez. I feel like this is a rematch. I feel like this fight's happened before. You know what? Yes, this was a draw. No, never mind. They don't have a draw on their record. Forget I said anything. I think Pena beat Dominguez in the first fight. That's right. This time, though, Dominguez looking for revenge. Ooh, but there's a knockdown from Pena early here in round 5. Wow. Dominguez looked good, but Pena with a flash knockdown there early in the round, and now an incredible round by Dominguez. Swarming Pena, knocking almost all his energy off. Pena's going to have to go on the defensive. And now Pena almost down to the end with no energy left, and he gets finished there by Oscar Dominguez. And it's Raymond Pena's 5th professional loss. He gave up a lot of volume there to Oscar Dominguez. Oscar Dominguez came to fight, and how about a trilogy between those two? Jose Edwards versus Jose Hainsworth. Jose Hainsworth only has Edwards on ring IQ, pretty much. Other than that, this fight favors Edwards. Good first round. Oh, not so much. Hainsworth, good comeback there at the end of round 1. Takes round 2, and it's a knockdown at the start of round 3 and a finish by Jose Edwards at the end of round 3. Knocked him down. Hainsworth got up at the count of 5. He got a cut in his eye from Hainsworth later in the round, but then managed to pile on more power shots at the end of the round and finish Jose Hainsworth. Jose Edwards now 26-5, his 21st career knockout. Eric Cartagena versus Luis Emilio Dominguez. Eric Cartagena has been nothing but magic so far, and he continues to be. Huge first round. Piles on in round 2. Nearly gets the stoppage. And does get the stoppage in round 3. Easy work there for Eric Cartagena. Tony Seals versus Jamal Adon. Jamal Adon, a good power puncher, but the real deal. Stepping in looking for another big win in the middleweight division, his new division. And there's a KO for the real deal here at middleweight. Tony Seals did move down, correct? I am crazy. Tony Seals has always been a middleweight. And Fitch versus Tkhilishvili. And now, regardless of what weight class Tony Seals is in, because he's obviously always been a middleweight and I'm stupid. You know who is also a middleweight? Andy Fitch. But first, fighting out of the blue corner, the challenger, representing Tbilisi, Georgia. His professional record, 22 wins, 9 losses, and 1 draw with 16 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the undisputed super welterweight title challenger, Shalva Tkhilishvili. And now, fighting out of the red corner, representing Baltimore, Maryland, USA. Crowd swells. His professional record, 34 wins, 7 losses, and 1 draw with 31 wins coming by knockout. He is the reigning, defending WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO super welterweight champion of the world, Andy Flick of the Switch Fitch. And here goes nothing. Good first round by Fitch. What kind of challenge can Tkhilishvili muster? He's known for his gas tank. Round 3. It's another good round for Fitch. I think we go to the body now. Try to start to wear down Tkhilishvili while we have the lead. We do a good job wearing him down. Back to natural style for Fitch. It's another good round for Fitch. This fight's going really well so far. Maybe a little too well for an undisputed title fight. And there's the work from Tkhilishvili. And we're going to jab and move here with Fitch. We managed to keep him away and keep the damage off of us. That's a big, big round there for Fitch. We managed to tire him out, too. I think we're going right back to jab and move. That worked a lot better. I want Tkhilishvili's energy gone. Yeah, make him chase you. Perfect by Fitch there. And now Tkhilishvili's tired. We get another round on him. We're going to pile on pressure here, even though we're damaged. I kind of think that's not a great idea. We do pile on pressure. Final round. We're winning this fight. It'd be stupid not to natural style. We win another round, and it's a technical knockout. Fitch gets the TKO with 14 seconds left. The ref just couldn't let him finish. And still, the undisputed WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO super welterweight champion of the world, Andy Flick of the Switch Fitch. Yes, sir. Flick that switch. 9-week injury. He paid the price, but he's still got every single belt that they make. Every belt they give out. Number 1. Pasiev versus Rivera. Good 4th round for Pasiev there, finally piling on pressure. Here for the other 3 heavyweight belts. Pasiev, another big round there, knocks most of the energy off Rivera. He is the more damaged fighter, though Rivera landing effective power punches. More power punches in that round for Rivera. He wins it. Good round back from Pasiev, who's now the only fighter with remaining energy, but Rivera with a nice round swarming there on the last of his energy. Pasiev collects the final round. Judge 1 gives it to Rivera. Judge 2 gives it to Rivera. And Judge 3 and new Champ Magazine IBF WBO champion Hector Rivera. And I'm just going to say the rounds that he won were pretty spread out. He had the bigger shots, he had the bigger punches, but that's going to be a very controversial result. Let's take a look at the new El Salvadorian heavyweight champion of the world. Andreas Pasiev. He definitely, I mean, as the defending champion, you got to think he deserved better than that. And he's the guy who knocked off Michael O'Malley. So you got to love him. So tough to see. All right, here we go. Manuel Soto versus Ludwig Haufft from the biggest house there is, Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The big house, baby. Reeling in the big mucho grande dollars here with this one. 107,000 people to the gates at $282 a head to watch Manuel Soto against Ludwig Haufft. Max Nieves with an easy setup right here. Imagine how empty this stadium must be for this undercard. Like how empty Wembley was for the beginning of Usyk versus Dubois. Imagine that in the big house. Imagine that 100, like, how many people? It's like it's the biggest stadium in North America. Definitely. It's over 120,000 people. I know that for sure in real life. Leroy Barry. Tough first round against this dude who's literally 4 times more losses than wins, but he's bounced back. Can you just finish this, please? Look for the KO. Leroy Barry gets the knockdown there. He's really beating this guy up. Can we just, like, stop with the punishment? There we go. Finally, Leroy Barry, after 8 rounds of taking his anger out on Sadat Migade, finally is awarded the KO. That was a little disturbing, actually. There, 1-punch KO from Mark Martinez. Speaking of disturbing power from Double M. It's the 10-1 at flyweight. Man has 10 knockouts at flyweight in 10 wins. Bigger they are, the harder they fall. Saddam Williams looking to improve to 8-0. Very low-key out of Scottsdale. Scottsdale Saddam. Piling on, it's Saddam Williams finishing 8-0 at welterweight. Bashan Barrett versus Brian Olivares. Olivares. And I don't know what Bashan Barrett is doing right now, but he's not beating this guy. Despite being 18-0. This isn't going according to plan. This is how Daniel Dubois' trainers felt against Usyk. I didn't account for this happening. He's not magically winning. There we go. We counterpunch and we get the knockdown. Beautiful by Bashan. Finally, something worked. And then we just get piled on again. Let's try to jab and move again here in round 9 while we still have the energy to try to do that. And we managed to slow the fight down a little bit. We're going to pile on pressure here in the last round. This is a very close fight, very tough fight to score. Bashan Barrett could very easily be looking at the end of his undefeated record. So you know what? We're going to go for broke instead with Bashan here. He doesn't get the finish, and we're going to get the loss on the scorecards. And Bashan Barrett's undefeated record flies out the window, and it's yet another light heavyweight fighter, another high-potential light heavyweight fighter losing for pretty much no reason to not a very bad fighter, to not a very good fighter, in Brian Olivares. So, yeah, speaking of, well, Tony Ali hasn't lost his undefeated record yet. He's going for a regional cruiserweight title here against a veteran, Jose Fundora. Hopefully this chin is far too cracked, and Tony Ali can stroll out of here with a win, and he dominates round 1. Tony Ali looking good so far. Piles on the pressure and gets the stoppage in round 2 to reset our mood after that Bashan Barrett loss. That was a tough L for Bashan Barrett. I'm still drained from that one. Rodriguez versus Cody. Can Rodriguez get us a big heavyweight dub here? Good round 1. Worst round 2. Gets knocked down in round 3, but lands far more punches. We're going to have to cover up, though. Do some damage there in round 4. Round 5, what can Eben Rodriguez do? He's going to take even more damage. I'm just going to risk it and go to the body, try to damage him right back, and we get knocked out. That was not a good idea. And Eben Rodriguez takes another loss. I should not have gone to the body. That was way over aggressive. And unfortunately, that's a loss for Eben Rodriguez, his 4th always dangerous heavyweight division. But we got to reset after a couple disappointing results. Embarrassed ourselves out there in front of a big crowd. But here we go with Manuel Soto. It's 2033, by the way, in case you were wondering what year it was. Well, whoops, I skipped the intros. I accidentally hit round 1. Haufft won round 1. Fighting. Winning round 1. Out of the blue corner. Fighting from Waldeck, Germany. presenting he's the WBA, WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the World. Now that I remember what titles he has, Ludwig Haufft. Haufft fighting out at the red corner. The WBC, IBF Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Manuel Soto. All right, cool. Let's get on with the fight, please. Round 2. What can Soto do? Lose another round. That's what he can do. I'm going to go to the body risky again. I don't care. We're trying to win an undisputed cruiserweight title. We take a lot of damage. We don't really damage him back. We cover up and get absolutely dog-walked in round 4. Round 5, we finally do something. Can we jab and move, please? Bro. Can we do something? Pile on pressure. Screw it. We're going to get ourselves knocked out. I don't care. I'm just gonna go for broke with the last 2% of his energy, and we just get pummeled. Yeah, Manuel Soto is not winning this fight right now. We're gonna have to save a look for KO. I'm just gonna look for KO right now because we're gonna get knocked out anyway. And Manuel Soto loses, and that was a really tough card in front of a sold-out Michigan house. That was a brutal loss there to Ludwig Haufft. But in Ludwig Hauft's defense, he is probably better than Manuel Soto. We were not the favorite in that fight. The undercard didn't really go our way, and unfortunately the main event didn't go our way either, and Manuel Soto is going to have to work his way back up the title level in the cruiserweight division. He managed to get to a unified champion, but not quite an undisputed champion. That kind of always belonged to Ludwig Haufft's level of fighter, more so than Manuel Soto's. He isn't quite on the level, and that showed from wire to wire here. Very dominant win by Ludwig Hauft. Not much more I think we could have done. I pretty much tried to push every button that I could, and nothing worked.